Alright, so I'm still setting up the live stream. Just give me a minute, people. Give me a minute. And it doesn't need to be that loud. Back it down a little bit. There we go. Back it down, back it down, back it down. Alright, so I'll be right with you guys in just a second. Okay, so happy 4th of July, people. Although my 4th of July kind of got ruined a little bit last night. And we're going to discuss that in this video. Uh-huh. Sure am. But first, I got to do one other thing. And then we'll get into it. So just bear with me for about a minute. But Boston, Massachusetts fracked up big time last night. Yep, they freaked up big time. See, and I'm a little bit angry right now this morning because of the way they fracked up. But if you notice, I'm not using my normal language on the channel. I said fracked up instead of the other F word. Because I'm trying to keep it somewhat clean. Okay? Because I will be forwarding this to a few people that I want them to see this video as well. And I don't want them to think that Justin Emo Howling Wolf or Emo Howling Wolf, depending on which channel you're watching it, is an unprofessional guy who comes on the internet and all he does is swear. Because when I forward this video over to the people that I want to see it, that's not going to solve anything. They'll be like, oh, this guy's a foul mouth. Click! And they're not going to watch the video. You see how that works? So sometimes, even though you're really pissed off and you're really angry and you're really extremely mad, and I'm going to be on camera in a minute. I'm working on something here on the background, right? Sometimes you just got to stifle the language a little bit and try to be as a little bit more professional, okay? So, with that being said, alright, so now we're on 2 of my YouTube channels, and we're on Rumble, and have fun in the chat because I'm not really paying attention to it anyway. It's not that I want to shun anybody, but I want to keep this a clean and productive video instead of a flying off the handle video where when I forward it to the people that I want to see this, you know, my mother one time, back in the day when she raised English bulldogs and used to show into the English bulldogs, there was a woman by the name of Marge. I'm not going to give you her last name, but she says, and I used to swear a lot as a teenager, and one day Marge looked at me and she goes, you know what, Justin? You sound like a real ignorant asshole when you swear all the time. People that all they do is swear makes them sound intelligent. And when you want to talk to somebody in business, you don't go flying off the handle and sounding not intelligent. she basically said the people who all they do is swear basically have a low IQ, because the real people and real business people and the real people of the world who have a brain don't talk like that. That was a lesson she basically taught me as a kid. So, if I go send this to Channel 7 in Boston, which I am later, I'm going to send this to Channel 7 in Boston, because I'm extremely pissed off right now. But, like I said, I'm trying to keep the swearing to a bare minimum. And anybody who watches Justin Emo Howling Wolf and knows my channel, swearing at the bare minimum, oh yeah, that's going to be impossible to do. So instead of saying the F-U, etc., word, we're going to call it Boston fracked up. Okay? And they did last night. They did. And before I can get into how they fracked up, I gotta go way back to the early 2000s and give everybody a little history lesson here. So we're gonna have a little boring part in the beginning of the video, and then we're gonna get into the meat of where Boston fracked up last night. And I got screenshots to prove that Boston, Massachusetts, fracked up last night. Screenshots where I had to go through, thanks to Lane Myers, the idiot, and I had to redact everybody's name. Because earlier today I went to Facebook, people, and I went on a couple of posts to see what the general consensus was. And a lot of the people are not happy around the country. See, now, before Lane Myers took the friggin' plea deal, I could go over to Facebook, go to the Boston Pops' fan page, and I could show you every comment on their page. Right? Because somebody typed their comments on a public website. Facebook is a public website. Well, now, because of Lane Myers taking a plea deal, you can no longer show posts on a public website. So I had to keep screen capping and taking screenshots of the Boston Pops' post on Facebook, and then I had to redact everybody's name because I don't want to be harassing anybody on Facebook. I don't want to be doxxing anybody on Facebook, because now what used to be public information and allowed is now not public information and is not allowed because Lane Myers decided to take a... See, I almost swore right there. Decided to take a deal. Thank you, Lane. So for the last 2 hours, I've been editing out all these screenshots. Because I don't dare show somebody's name now, because he took a plea. So, let me get into the little history lesson for you. Okay, back in the day, when TV came out, if you looked at a frequency chart, there were each TV station, right? They had a frequency, and then in between, like between channel 6 and 7, the channel 6's frequency was here. Then there was a few numbers that weren't used. Then channel 7 weren't there. And then channel 7's frequency was down here. The reason why they did that is because back in the old analog days, you needed space between channels. If you didn't have the space between the channels, two TV channels would bleed over the top of each other. Okay? When they took television and went to digital, you didn't need that space anymore in between each channel. So now to fill that up, this is why you might have CBS on the main frequency, the CW on the second frequency, the WB on the next sub channel, Justice TV on the next channel, a music video channel on the next. You know what I'm talking about? The sub channels that we have on digital, because, okay, the olden days with CB radios, to give you another idea what I'm talking about, back with, and I'm going to start with channel 26 on CB, because there's a couple of channels that got screwed up when they went from 23 channels to the 40 channel radio. What happened is, channel 26's frequency on the CB radio is 272650. Okay? So again, 272650. Then you had channel 27's frequency, which was 272750. So if you notice what's the difference, in the olden days, there was 10 KCs, or what they called. That was the dead zone between channel 26 and 27. So what happens is, in the olden days of analog, if you set a radio to 272650, right? And then you take your radio and you set it to 2, and then the next frequency was 272750. So that means in between there, you couldn't use 272651. You can use 272652. You can use 272653. You can use 272654. You get the point? Because if you went on one of those KCs, it would knock out the main channel. Okay? So you used to have space in between CB radio channels and television channels. Well, now that they all went digital, there's no space anymore. So now, like I was just telling you, 272650 could be CBS. 272651 could be the CW. 272652 could be another sub-channel. 272653 would be another sub-channel. 272654 would be another channel. You see, that's what digital TV did. It allowed more channels to be made in this huge gap that you used to have between frequencies, because back in the day with analog, if you didn't have that gap, 27 would take out 26, and 26 would take out 27. Okay? So just to compare that a little bit. You don't need that gap anymore with digital TV. But we're getting there. We're getting there. So, before they had it, back in 1994, DirecTV came out with this little tiny satellite dish. Okay? A little tiny satellite dish instead of the big, because the predecessors to that little dish were the big ones the size of this bedroom. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. So, DirecTV comes out with this little satellite dish about the size of this paper plate. That's how small they were in the 90s. Right? And when DirecTV came out, because they didn't have all the local channels in every market. They didn't have all the local channels. So when you joined DirecTV back in 1994, they had a national feed of CBS, NBC, ABC. And national feed was out of California or New York. And when I first got my first DirecTV dish, I used to love it because I could watch back when the network showed Sunday movies, this is when this came in handy. Let's say NBC and CBS both had awesome Sunday movies. Well, when I first got my DirecTV satellite dish, you could watch the CBS movie in New York time and then go watch the NBC movie in California. But then this thing came about with marketing, okay? Then we get into the analogy of the money. It became all about money. In 2002, it became all about fucking money. And that's the only reason why they did this, is because they wanted to make money. It came down to making money. Because there was no other reason to change this other than people wanting to be greedy and having money. So like I said, 94 to 2002. We're getting to 2002 now. TV was great. You had the New York feed and you had the Los Angeles, California feed. Okay? Also during that time, you had WPIX, the superstation out of New York, that was broadcasting WB content on the satellite dish through the whole country. Another one that you had that was a powerhouse station back then, before they did what they did in 2002. You had TBS, which was also a Warner Brothers television station that played a WB feed nationally. From 1994 to 2002, you also had WGN in Chicago, which was another national feed of a superstation. It was shared. It played two things. It played UPN 12 hours a day, and it played WB 12 hours of the day. But then we get to 2002, and the government decides to screw everybody when it comes to TV. This is they talk about the day the music died. Oh, Buddy Holly died in a plane crash. with the Big Bopper and Richie Valens and all this stuff. They consider that the day the music died. I consider 2002 the day TV died. Because it was all about the money. That's all it was about. It was about money and greed. The government decided that if you're living in, I'll just use my old town when I used to live there. You got the satellite dish, and let's say you're living in Mexico, Maine, where I used to live. Okay? So now you're watching the stations from Portland are not on the dish. Because you got a national feed from LA, you got a national feed from New York. So what happened was, there was this commercial that used to always come on and annoy me when I used to watch the channels out of California. And you'll see where I'm getting to be, you'll see where I'm getting to where I'm talking about. It became about greed and money. It became all about greed and money. That's all I gotta keep telling you. So, watching the California channels, back when we had the national feed, and watching the TV, they had this store called the Jewelry Exchange. You want to exchange your jewelry for something else? You want a new piece of jewelry? We got earrings. We got diamond rings. We got this. We got that. Come to the Jewelry Exchange in Tustin, California. Okay? Now, the Jewelry Exchange is all over the United States. So now I'm sitting in Maine. I'm watching the California networks, and I'm listening to the Jewelry Exchange ads in Tustin, California. Well, see, this is when they screwed everything up and they ruined TV in 2002. The other network markets started getting bitchy. The only way I could put it. Because instead of watching the Jewelry Exchange in Tustin, California, the people in the Portland, Maine market were getting pissed that you aren't watching the ad for the Jewelry Exchange in Portland, Maine. There was this guy in California, okay? His name was Cal Worthington. He did these fucking car ads with animals, walking with tigers, walking with lions, walking with bears, walking with exotic animals, right? He did these commercials in California. You want a car? Go see Cal. If you need a car and truck, go see Cal. If you need a car and truck, go see Cal. Okay? I still remember the commercials. Matter of fact, if you watch a movie with Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson called Made in America, and they show Ted Danson as a friggin' auto dealership guy, and he's hanging out with bears and everything in the movie, and then there's a tiger scene, and there's a other scene. Well, that part of the movie was inspired by Cal. But see, here's where the money came in. The other networks were getting bitchy that there was only a New York and Los Angeles feed. They didn't want somebody sitting in Maine watching If you need a car and truck, go see Cal. If you need a car and truck, go see Cal in California. What they really wanted you to see while you were in Maine is they wanted you to be watching the Portland market where Jolly John owned half of fucking Route 1 in Scarborough, Maine. That's right. They didn't want you listening to a car commercial in California because they were worried you would get on a plane and go to California and buy a car from Cal instead of me getting in my car in Mexico, Maine, driving an hour and being at Jolly John's. That's why they were bitching about it. So what did Congress do? They took the LA and New York feed away from the satellite dish and said, you're only supposed to be watching networks in your market. You can't do international feeds, U.S. feeds anymore. So what happened was, after they signed that bill, the New York and California feed on the satellite dish went away. And they basically left you with nothing. So a lot of people had to get basic cable so they could still watch their local markets. And it took almost 3 years for DirecTV to get every single market on the satellite dish. And it was all about money because they didn't want you to go to California and buy a car. They didn't want you to go to the jewelry exchange in Tucson, California. No, they wanted you to go to the jewelry exchange in Portland, Maine, because you lived in Maine. They wanted you to go to Jolly John's instead of going to Cal's. It became all about the local money. So, I'm getting to where the Lulu of last night happened. We're getting there, but I had to give you this lesson first. They do not want you to watch outer network television. Because they want you, if you live in Portland, Maine, they want you to watch the ads only that are in Portland, Maine, because they want you to shop only in Portland, Maine. If you're where Lady Di is and you live in Tucson, Arizona, they only want you to watch ads in Tucson, Arizona and do business in Tucson, Arizona. You're not allowed to watch an ad from California. You're only supposed to watch an ad from Tucson. If you live in Houston, where Rick Crude lives, Rick Crude is only allowed to watch TV stations in the Houston area, whatever his market is. Because they didn't want him watching a national feed from LA and New York. No. It was all about the money. Well, we're paying for advertisement and nobody's coming to our stores because they're watching out-of-market television. So, Congress and our asshole president by the name of Bush made a law that you can I call it the day TV died. The day they killed the national feeds. After that, PIX-11 couldn't broadcast throughout the United States anymore and carry the WB feed. TBS in Atlanta had to show one set of programming in Atlanta And then they had to show a different set of programming on TBS for the cable station because they couldn't show the WB feed all over the country anymore. They took WGN's national feed and told them they couldn't stream UPN and the WB anymore. And like I said, the New York and Los Angeles feed on the dish went bye-bye. It was the day television died. When they can control what you watched and what you didn't watch, all because of advertising and ad revenue and money. That's why it was being done. So, now we are going to jump back into 2025. Now we're back in the present time. For the last 15 years, 15 years, I've been watching the Boston Pops Symphony Orchestra on Bloomberg Television. And for the last 15 see, I almost swore. For the last 15 years, I rebroadcasted the show on my internet radio station. For the last 15 years. Until this year, people. To this year. That's right. When I say 15 years, I'm talking from 2024 back 15 years. Now, remember what I just told you. You cannot watch a network television station out of market. Now, for decades, WHDH TV, Channel 7 in Boston, has broadcasted the Boston Pops Symphony Orchestra. But they also had a deal with Bloomberg Television to carry the national feed through the United States. Why? Because of what I just told you a few minutes ago. In 2002, the U.S. signed a law that television stations are not allowed to broadcast out of their market. So this is why WHDH Channel 7 in Boston, Massachusetts could not stream the Boston Pops concert last night nationwide because they are a Massachusetts station licensed to the Boston market. And just like when I said they took TBS away and New York and Los Angeles international feed, they're not allowed to broadcast outside of Massachusetts. So watching the fireworks in the Boston Pops display outside of Massachusetts, I used to go to Bloomberg for that. Well, all of a sudden, 2025, and Bloomberg used to play the Boston Pops on all their radio stations and television stations. Well, this year there was no contract with Bloomberg. So for the last 15 friggin' years I've been broadcasting the Boston Pops on my radio station, I decided to bring in one of the other radio stations that I DJ on last night. I told John, I said, John, I'll be on the 4th of July with what I thought would be a special broadcast of the Boston Pops. And I publicized that bitch for about 6 weeks. Had everybody ready for it. I'm waiting for it. My show is supposed to start at 6. My show is supposed... the Boston Pops part of the show was supposed to start at 7 p.m. last night on my radio station and JDL Oldies. And I had people all worked up from this. Guess what I find out? At 6:30 last night, I find out there is no more national feed of the Boston Pops because they didn't renew their contract with Bloomberg. So what did they do? What did they do? What did they do to make up for the loss of Bloomberg television? What did they do? The idiots in Boston decide to contract with the CW network. Yeah, they decide to contract with the CW network. But the catch is, the CW network was only going to play in the last hour of the Boston Pops concert, which the concert originally was 3 hours long. 3 hours long. They played the last hour, and then they threw in there so many goddamn commercials that there was more commercials than there was goddamn show last night. Yeah, there was more commercials than the goddamn show last night. And it was supposed to be broadcast on all the CW networks in the country. The last part of the Boston Pops. The last 10 minutes of the Boston Pops and then the 40 minutes of the fireworks. I got screenshots that I'm going to show you where this was a complete disaster using the CW network. Complete disaster. A lot of people are extremely pissed off that the entire 3-hour show was not aired on a feed where everybody in the country could get it. Now you might say, emo, the Boston pop music, that's garbage music. That crap is so old, nobody listens to that anymore. So let me put it in another analogy. Of a way you might understand what I'm talking about. Cover my pillow with the dang thing. Imagine you want to watch the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden the Super Bowl says, we're not streaming the game no more. We're only... The Miami Dolphins and the Super Bowl tonight against Texas. And we're only going to stream the Super. We're only going to allow CBS in Florida and the CBS in. We're going to allow the CBS in Texas to broadcast the Super Bowl. But everybody in the country, go blank yourself. That's what they did to us last night. They basically told us to all blank ourselves. Well, you're in the racing and you decide, oh, I'm going to watch the Daytona 500 tonight. And you go to tune into the Daytona 500, and all of a sudden NASCAR says, nope, we're not showing that on TV anymore. Wouldn't you be pissed off? Wouldn't you be angry? I've been watching that show for decades, and I got screwed out of a show last night because they couldn't supply a friggin' national feed. And again, like I said, the people who put this on, Channel 7 in Boston, they're not allowed to stream the content nationally because they are a network station marketed to Boston, and they're only allowed to broadcast it in the Boston area. So you couldn't go to their website and watch the Boston Pops last night because there was no national feed because they're not allowed to. They have to stay in their little market. You know, the 2002, the day TV died bullshit because of all about fucking money. So I wound up streaming CBS last night. Yeah, I wound up streaming the 4th of July friggin' concert out of Washington, D.C. last night because I couldn't get a U.S. national feed of the Boston Pops last night. It wasn't there. It wasn't allowed because Bloomberg was nowhere to be found. Now what the channel could have did in Boston, in order for them to carry it nationally, now WHCH in Boston, and they know this, they could have set up a second feed, and they could have did the Boston Pops as a pay-per-view concert all over the United States. I would have at least paid for that. But no, Bloomberg's not there anymore. Go frack yourself. When you can't, you live out of state. Fuck you. You can't get the fucking feed. We're not broadcasting it internationally tonight. And I found this out less than 30 minutes before my fucking broadcast last night. 30 minutes. I had less than 30 minutes to find an alternative concert to broadcast on my fucking radio station last night because these motherfuckers had to cancel the national fucking feed. And it all starts with 2002, baby. Yes, it does. With this out-of-network shit that they did in 2010. So let's get into the screenshots of how people around the country are friggin' pissed off right now. And I'm actually going to send this video to Channel 7 in Boston. Because I want them to see how bad they fucked up last night. And after I published and pushed, oh, we're gonna have a great concert coming up, and I promoted it, and I promoted it, and I promoted it for 6 fucking weeks, and then I come to find out there was no national feed. I felt like a goddamn centimeter tall. I felt like a fucking asshole. Literally felt like a fucking asshole because I promoted this. I pushed this. And then to come to find out there was no US-wide fucking feed last night. So let's get into screenshots. Oh, and I'm pissed. I'm beyond pissed. Okay, so here we go. Here's the first one. And like I said, I had to go through all of these and redact everybody's name thanks to Lane Myers. And I got to put this on the other window because I can't even see that. I wish you would have streamed this live to your Facebook page. It's getting harder and harder and harder to watch the show every year at my house. It's not like it's not the 4th of July without the Boston Pops. Would have been watching this in Kentucky, KY. We've been watching it for a lot of years. Close to 30 years. Yeah, in some cases, the national feed went more than 30 years. As long as you've been with them. Even though it's on the CW tonight, it's not the whole show. That's right. It was not the whole show. It sucked. You hear me, CW? Your show sucked last night. Your show absolutely cocksucking motherfucking son of a bitch and cunt sucked last night. I tried not to curse in this video. I tried. Lord knows I tried. I totally agree with the Boston Pops. It would have been better if there was a live stream on this page, meaning their Facebook page. Yes, I'm trying so hard to watch it in South Carolina, but nothing is working. So that's one screenshot. Here's another screenshot from Facebook. I'm going to kill that thing. Oh, that's nice. So anyway, here's another post. Another post. Here we go. Here's another one. Here's another one. Today is the day. Come join us at the Oval as we are just a few hours away from the Boston Pops fireworks spectacular. Can't join us in person? Watch it locally on locally, meaning they can't stream it around the U.S. because I said 2002, the day TV died. Can't stream out of network, right? Locally on HDH channel 7, starting at 7 p.m. and nationally on the CW at 9 o'clock. You know what they played on the CW at 9 o'clock? They played two songs. And then the Boston fireworks. That's what they played. Two songs. Like I said, I had to redact all of these because of Lane Myers. Kathy to Allison, I know exactly how you feel. Kathleen to Allison, do you have access to the CW? My cable shows it on from 8 to 9. Here it is again. I just hate that I can't watch it all. Of course. What would I be able to see? Hopefully my favorite parts and my armed forces song and my patriotic sing-along and my absolutely favorite, the Stars and Stripes. Nope, they didn't show any of that on CW. Sorry about that. They didn't show any of that. I'm in New Jersey. It started at 9 p.m. here. Yes, I saw it on CW. It was good, but it didn't even include the 1812 overture. And you're going to see this comment a lot. Did not include the 1812 overture. Sorry to hear that. What I watched and read the comment. You can read these comments. Yeah. The only thing I want to see, you may be able to look on their YouTube channel for the concert. No, it wasn't on YouTube because I would have streamed it on my radio station if it was. I wish they would make this available to all of us in the U.S. Ugh. Well, we can see the fireworks on CW, but as far as I know, no 1812 overture. Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that. I was able to watch the sing-along and the 1812 overture. I was so sorry you missed it. Maybe you'll be able to see it tomorrow. Check out the YouTube page. Maybe it will be on there. Okay, so that screenshot is a double. All right, so the next one. Oh, I lost somebody's name in there. Thank you. I couldn't find it on the CW. Does any of you know if the concert will be played on a radio station? It was supposed to be on mine until I got fucked with no international feed. Just saying. Watching from the Cambridge side of the river, wanted to listen in. As I read it, it wouldn't be available on radio. No, because you killed the Bloomberg feed, you idiots! You morons! I'm so missing it. I'm totally disappointed. Oh yeah, they fucked up last night. They fucked up. Stream, please. It baffles me how so many things can be streamed nationally in real time except for this. I can't find it anywhere. I watched it on the CW. And YouTube TV does not carry it. WHDH-TV did not cover it nationally. And the CW feed was edited. Very disappointed, to say the least. Didn't even show the 1812 Overture. And that was a fucking signature song. Signature. That was signature. I'll say it one more time. That song was signature. This is why you're going to see people commenting on that over and over and over and over and over and again. Happy 4th of July. Happy 2025. Yes, very disappointed. Always watch the pops. Don't get Channel 7 here. Oh yeah, they screwed this up royally last night. Very disappointed. I always watch the pots, but I didn't get Channel 7 I don't get Channel 7 here. No 1812 Overture. Again, horrible. Have fun, everybody. Back home. I love all of you. I'll be missing you. From Fort Wayne, Indiana. Can't watch it tonight. Can't wait to watch it tonight. Also can't wait to watch Keith Lockhart and the Boston Bobs. I'm so excited. Keith Lockhart is the conductor, by the way. That's who that is. So that's why I left that name in there, because he's a public person. I'm so upset. Our local CW decided to play a baseball game instead of the Boston Pops extravaganza. So CW was contracted to stream the Boston Pops, the last portion of it, and they couldn't even get it right at the top of this screenshot because they were under contract to stream it. And what did they do? They streamed a local baseball game instead. Way to go, CW. I hope that was a home run for you, because it sure as hell wasn't a fucking home run for this woman who posted this this comment, and it sure as fuck wasn't a home run for me. The CW in Portland, Oregon did not have full audio for the first 20 minutes. I hope the DirecTV Platinum had better audio. I'm not sure those viewers were very... I'm sure those viewers were not happy. Channel 7 in Boston didn't even show the 1812 Overture. And notice how I got all these cans here on my desk. I'm gonna show you why the Overture is so important in a minute. And cut out the fireworks 15 minutes before the grand finale. Such amateurs at HDH. Hopefully they get more professional TV station to take over the broadcast, because Channel 7 isn't cutting it. Paraphrasing a little bit. Because they can't handle the responsibility. I'm so disappointed because I couldn't even watch the Boston Pops tonight. I've always looked forward to sharing the 4th of July with you. So I'm not the only one bitching, people. I'm not the only one bitching. The CW in Portland, Oregon. Oh, okay, we read that one already. They didn't play the overture again. All right, I think this one's another double. And then what time are the F-18s flying over? That was the only different comment on that one. All right, so here's another comment. And like I said, go to Facebook and watch this yourself. My fave, I loved Boston Pops, and then there was 2 friggin' replies that I forgot to open. Thank you, Keith. Keith Lockhart and the team. So, again, Keith Lockhart is the conductor. That's why I left that name in there. Does anyone know how close they are to capacity? Somebody was worried about if there was too many people there. Looking good. And then look at Kathy's comment down here at the bottom. I'm watching last year's Boston Pops concert because that was the best I can do without a national feed. Way to go, Boston. Way to go. Great way to fuck up. Does anybody know of a free app that will be broadcasting it tonight? There was none. The concert will be available on the CW network. Yeah, the CW this is what they showed, people. They showed 2 Boston Pops songs. 2. Only 2. And then the fireworks. That's what they showed. And there was more goddamn ads in that 1 hour broadcast than there was show from the promenade in Boston. Let's go to the next one, shall we? And like I said, I had to edit all these out because of Lane Myers. Can't show Facebook anymore. You might get in trouble. That's an overlap of the last one because it's up there at the top. They're talking about the app again. So far, their live page, right now. This one down here by Sarah. What she's talking about, second post down, is that HDH in Boston has a live stream on their network, on their web page. But what they did is right at the time that the Boston Pops was supposed to start, they replayed the 6 o'clock news because, again, they're not allowed to stream outside Boston, Massachusetts. So the live feed on HDH's page was no good because all it did was show replays of the freaking news all freaking night and didn't show the Boston Pops. So that's what she's talking about. went to WHDH's page, and all I kept doing was having the news replay over and over and over again. I tried the HDH app as well, with the same results, I guess. You only... See, there you go. You only can get the broadcast if you're locally in Boston, Massachusetts, and have cable in Massachusetts. Those are the only people that were allowed to see it on Channel 7. I would be happy to make a donation to the Boston Pops to watch this. Bummed to be missing it this 4th of July. So there's again somebody at a network area couldn't watch it again. Here's another screenshot. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Somebody said they basically checked the website several times. And then somebody said that they missed they remember when it was on PBS. And again, right here, in the middle of this, that big paragraph from the bottom. No 1812 overture. HDH Channel 7 did a horrendous broadcast of this show this year and tonight. They didn't even show the 1812 overture. Now, everybody heard me say that repeatedly, right? You guys heard me say it over and over and over and over and over again. The 1812 overture. Okay. So before we continue with the next screenshot, let me get my camera to the top of the list here. Let's continue with the next screenshot. But before we do, let me put my camera all the way up at the top. Okay, so am I over the screenshot? Okay. The reason why everybody loves the 1812, and notice how I got a bunch of cans here on the channel. Now the Boston 1812 overture, because I can't play it on YouTube because of the stupid copyright laws. The overture is the one that goes okay, and during the part, they have howitzer cannons, and you see a lot. And let's say there's a howitzer cannon here, right here, right on top of these soda cans. So the howitzer cannon is there, and what they do is they put the cartridge in, and right during the dun-dun-dun-dun-bum-bum, they blow off the cannon. And then the guy throws out the cartridge, loads another one, throws the cartridge out again, loads another one, throws the cartridge again, loads another one, throws the cartridge again, loads the cannon again, throws another cartridge, loads the cannon again, and throws another cartridge. And people love the cannon part. This is why people are pissed that the 18 bang cannon, bang cannon, bang cannon, bang cannon. Okay, that's why people are pissed. and it was the best song in the show, and they cut it out. Channel 7 did a horrendous job on this broadcast. They didn't even show the 1812 overture. Okay, we just read that, and that's the end. That's the end of that folder. But wait, there's more. But wait, there's more. I think I showed this one already. Didn't I show this one already? Alright, we'll quickly go through this folder. So now look at this screenshot. Come on, load the screenshot. Here's another one. But notice that I say down here on the bottom, and I got it highlighted in red, that Bloomberg is supposed to, is one of the partners and backers, but yet they didn't stream it nationally this year. They list Bloomberg as a partner and backer, but yet they didn't stream the event nationally this year. I'll know if I went through this one already. Yeah. No 1812 overture. Is this going to be on the Bloomberg channel? I don't see it on any schedule for it. It's going to be on the CW network, but yeah, like I said, 2 songs and fireworks. That's all and lots of ads. That's what the CW network showed. I have direct TV and couldn't find it on the CW network. Here's another one. Is that the same one? Okay, that's the same one. Alright, so let's go over here. Here's another one. When I was a kid, my family would be there on our blankets enjoying the parts of the... So that was always somebody that went to the thing. So much work goes into this event. Kudos to everybody involved. So that was a night. I'll be watching it at home in Arizona. No, you're not, because it didn't have a national feed, idiot. And then here's somebody say, I'll be watching it from Florida. Now, how many people, like, I'll use a name here from one of my trolls. How many people, like Chip Follen, who lived in Massachusetts as he got older, decided, I'm getting the hell out of Massachusetts because I can't stand the cold anymore. Even though Chip's in Georgia, I'm just using Chip as an analogy. How many people did they lose that live in Florida that got fucked over last night? How many people that got sick and tired of the New England weathers and the New England snow and the New England nastiness have moved to Florida and have watched this show for decades only to get fucked because there was no national feed last night? Think about that, Boston Pops. Think about it. Here's another one right here. I don't want to watch 1 hour, meaning on CW. I want to watch the 3-hour broadcast. You're damn right. Playing the last hour on the CW was inexcusable, was ludicrous, was dumb. I wanted the full fucking 3 hours last night. Not the last fucking hour. Not 2 songs and 15 minutes of 40 minutes of fucking fireworks. That's not what I asked for last night. You fucked up, Boston. You really fucked up. I don't want to watch 1 hour. I want to watch the entire 3 hours. Whoever made the decision to only air an hour should be fired. Damn right. I totally agree. I've been looking forward to watching this for watching the entire show. Not part of the show. But it's not anywhere on TV this year in New Hampshire. Very disappointing. As I am originally from Boston. Like again, how many people are no longer in New England because they decided to move to Arizona, or they decided to move to Florida, or they decided to move to California because they can't stand the New England weather anymore? How many of those people did you fuck over last night? Huh? How many of those people did you fuck over last night? Including me. That bragged that I was doing a show about this for 6 fucking weeks, only to find out that, no, you're not doing a show like that tonight, Helen. Well, because we're not going to let you have a national feed. Well, I missed it. I miss it this year. No Bloomberg this year. Don't know what happened. Can't tell you. Or any other channel. That we got carrying it. Happy 4th, people. What happened to the military shooting off the cannons? Again, the overture, like I said. Loading the cannons. And they're all loading and unloading the cannons this fucking fast. That's why people like it. Now, I wound up watching PBS last night instead, and watching Washington D's fireworks because, and yes, they did do the cannon scene, but on PBS they had the cannons so fucking far away, you couldn't see them loading the cartridges. You couldn't see them put a cartridge in, fling the dead one out. Put a cartridge in, fling the dead one out. You couldn't see that. It wasn't as good as the Boston Pops. And that song was a headliner. A headliner. Signature. And they cut it out of the CW feed. Really? A headliner. As long as I can remember at the half shell, or the hat shell as they call it, way back in the 50s, Every 4th of July, I pull up a lawn chair and just listen to it. It's heaven on earth. How much real time is compromised into this? 1 minute time. Okay, I didn't get that, but okay, so that must be somebody local. Mr. 1812 Overture. There it is again. Lousy show. Lousy show. Second paragraph down. Lousy show. What happened to the 1812 Overture? Very disappointing. Fond memories of being there for the 4th of July. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law missed those days. Saw Miles Davis and Sinatra there in 71. Okay, so that's people talking about being there. Another screenshot I missed people's names on, but oh well. Here's me showing the reply this time that wasn't in the fucking previous screenshot. Lousy show. What happened to the 1812 Overture? You missed the part of the show? What? Different channel? I'll be watching it at home. Yeah, if you're in Boston, you'll be watching it at home. The whole thing. Otherwise, you get 2 songs and 85 commercials and 10 minutes of fireworks. It's so un-American. 3rd paragraph down. It is so un-American to have a program like this in our country, and you won't even let the whole fucking country see it. Exactly. Exactly, Becky. You wouldn't even allow the whole fucking country to see it. Exactly. Can't wait to watch. Keith Lockhart tomorrow night on the CW network. Yeah, you wanted to for 2 songs, 85 commercials, and 10 minutes of fireworks? Really? Oh yeah, I'm pissed. Can you tell I'm really pissed? You can tell when I'm going on and on and on about this shit that I'm pissed. Uploaded an app on my TV. Still can't find it. 4th of July. Hate to say it, but it seems to be so un-American. I read that one already. To have a program like this and not share it in the country. So somehow I got that one in there twice. Here we go. Here's another one. What a letdown when I realized tonight I couldn't get the broadcast. That's right, because they killed the national feed because they're idiots. Not the same. What a shame. And you made an iconic decision to go back to a 1-hour television show for everybody but Boston? Yeah. And then, 2 songs, 85 to 90 commercials, and 10 minutes of fireworks. That's what they showed on the CW. The fucking CW should be fucking ashamed of themselves. Fucking ashamed of themselves. Shame, 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 shame. Not in Illinois. We got an hour show, including lots of commercials. Thanks for selling out, Boston. Andy, 100% correct. I agree with you on that comment. 100% correct. And then they're talking about the old school days again in that post. Then let's bring this one up. Let's bring this one up, shall we? Happy 4th of July, people. Sure wish you would let other networks broadcast it. Don't know what happened to Bloomberg. Do not know what the fuck happened to Bloomberg and why you got rid of it. Can't stress that enough. April was in Illinois. She probably didn't get to see it in Illinois. And there's the rest of the comments on that one.
Oh, damn.
And then here's another screenshot. We're getting to the end, people. We're getting to the Sure wish they would let other networks broadcast it. That's a repeat again. Now we're getting to the smaller stuff. This was a Facebook user now. Facebook user posted this post. And again, redacted the names because of the Wayne Myers fiasco. The CW presentation of the Boston Pops concert only had a fraction of the concert and was very disappointing. We didn't even get to see the 1812 overture. How many times have I said 1812 overture in this video? I was looking forward to hearing the Boston Pops children's chorus, the soldiers chorus, which were all out of the broadcast. Please broadcast the entire performance next year. 100% agree to that. So disappointed that the CW did not air it all. Funny, the 1812 overture is all I got on my local broadcasting station. I had to call it a night early due to exhaustion. Does it sound like I'm the only one that's pissed? If you are outside of the HDH area, you had to watch it on the CW, which was chopped up. 3 fucking songs, 85 to 90 commercials, and the fireworks. That's what you got on the CW. Very disappointed. Very disappointed. The sound was horrendous. Couldn't even hear on our station. Stuck commercials all over it. Very disappointed. I wait all year to watch the 1812 Overture. Again, another one with the 1812 Overture. Now, why are so many people talking about the 1812 Overture? Because it was signature in Boston to play that. That's why so many people are talking about it. It was standard. It was standard practice. All right, here's another one. Hey, the CW, you disappointed me. And a great many Boston Pots fans over the nation with your so-called broadcast of the 4th of July concert and fireworks celebration. The Boston Pops are ceremonious with the 4th of July of many of us. Year in and year out. To see their performance live. They celebrate not just America, but all aspects. Yes, they have celebrated and award-winning artists. Well, they accompany the artist. They also sparkle in those patriotic something we look forward to. The melody of military songs. You get to witness the crowd and keep reading this one. The patriotic sing-along, the Stars and Stripes, and those are what make us want to watch all of the concert. Not your cut and paste version of it. Your 1 hour to fit your 1 hour time slot. And the 1812 Overture. Let's talk about it. A vast majority of us Pots fans who love this. It's an Independence Day steeple. That was the word I was looking for. The 1812 Overture was a steeple in the show. It was signature. All right, we're into your 1 hour time slot. The 1812 Overture, most important to us. We love this piece. It is an Independence Day steeple, and the reason why so many tune in is the cannons. The loading and the unloading of the cartridges. The unloading and loading of the cartridges. That's what people want. They want the cannons at the end. You depraved us of all that. I turned it off immediately. I know that this year was your first year for me. And this was unforgivably disastrous experience. And if you are doing this next year, plan better. Make it longer than an hour. That's right. We want the whole fucking show, baby. The whole fucking show. Now here are the responses to it. Here are the responses to it. Thank you. I second that 100%. Talk about a disappointing end. We were all set up to be inspired with the traditional 1812 overture with the cannons. The entire televised concert itself seemed flat. The audience didn't seem very enthusiastic. Keith Lockhart didn't have his usual evidence. As far as the television part goes, 1 hour had more ads and more host talk than the Pops. Isn't that what I said? Loaded with ads, loaded with talk, 2 songs, and fireworks. Agreed. Totally disappointed. I will skip it next year. Bloomberg did such a great job. You're damn right. They did an outstanding job. I would have been able to broadcast it on my radio station last night, and Bloomberg would have had the contract. Them getting rid of Bloomberg is unacceptable, unconscionable. So I guess I'll be streaming Washington D.C. from now on, because I guess Boston doesn't want to cooperate. And the CBS show from Washington D.C. isn't as good, but at least it's something I could stream. Agree. So disappointed, I'll skip it next year. Bloomberg did such a good job. The continuing commercials interrupted the performances. And you didn't show the 1812 overture. A steeple. And it basically said, if you're not going to show the 1812 overture, then don't even bother streaming or televising it. This broadcast was terribly disappointing. Every year we look forward to the wonderful music and the 1812 overture. I am so embarrassed that I recommended this show to people. How do you think I feel? Oh, this is DJ Emo Halliwell. Make sure you tune in for a special presentation of the Boston Pops. That's right. I'm not doing my regular show on Friday. It's Friday, July 4th. But I will bring you a special presentation of the Boston Pops right here on JDO Oldies Radio, WHWF Radio. And I promoted that for 6 to 7 motherfucking weeks. And then 20 minutes before the show, I find out that I can't get the Boston Pops. How do you think I felt after promoting the show? How do you think I felt like this woman said right here? I recommended this show. I promoted this show. That's what Lynn said. I did the same thing. I promoted it over and over and over again. I was looking forward for it. I was looking for the steeples of the show. And Boston gave everybody the big middle finger. This is what Boston gave us by not having a national feed of the concert. This is what Boston gave everybody last night. So I guess the new tradition is I'm going to start streaming CBS. Excuse me, PBS. I'll start streaming the Washington show. If Boston can't get their ass together, I'll start streaming the Washington, D.C. show. Now, the Washington, D.C. show is not even a quarter as good as the Boston Pops. But if I got to be stuck broadcasting PBS every year instead of Boston, I guess that's what the new norm is going to be. Everybody's going to say, well, why are you making a big deal out of the Boston Pops? It's just old music. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't this. It doesn't do that. Because you get a lot of younger generation that are into the hip-hop, and they're into this, and they're into that. I mean, a lot of people think symphony orchestras are old hat. They're really, really old and all this stuff. So a lot of people listening to this video are saying, why is he making a big deal about it? Imagine you have 30 or 40 friends at your house. It's Super Bowl Sunday. You have a whole bunch of people at your house. You have a whole buffet of fucking food. You have a whole bunch of people at your house. You might even go out and rent a big screen TV. You may go out and do a whole big to-do about it. And then you find out 20 minutes before the Super Bowl is supposed to kick off that, we decided we're not broadcasting the Super Bowl anymore. Now you got a whole house full of people. You got a whole buffet table of food. You just rented the biggest TV you could find because your house is full, and you got all these people that you invited over, and you're ready for the Super Bowl, and then it gets announced, we're not streaming the Super Bowl. Wouldn't you be pissed that you spent all that money? Wouldn't you be pissed that you got geared up for it? Wouldn't you be angry if that happened? That's what they did with the Boston Pops. Just using the Super Bowl as an analogy. Because that's what they did. They got me all hot, they got me all hyped up, they got me all ready, and then they fucking disappointed me. That's why I'm pissed about it. That's why I'm angry. Do you know how much, how goddamn embarrassed I felt on JDL Oldies Radio, pushing a show for 7 fucking weeks, and then the fucking show is not able to be aired? I felt about a centimeter tall. That's how I felt. Well, we were almost done with that.
Life short.
So this year's broadcast was terribly disappointed. Every year we look forward to the wonderful music in the 1812 Overture. I'm so embarrassed that I recommended this show. So am I. For 7 weeks I recommended this show. To several listeners on a radio station, where she did it to several friends. I hope they didn't take I hope they don't take my advice. Rebecca's post was so true. We were so looking forward to celebrating our country with hope of our future. Instead, we felt worse shame on the CW for this not even whatever she says program. Agreed. Editing and cutting out portions of the music and this and that, especially the 1812 overture, was inexcusable. Yeah, inexcusable. This is why I'm pissed. The Boston Pops are the reason for tuning in. And to eliminate their own music in favor of blah, 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 and taking out the 1812 overture. You can see it. You can read this for yourself.
Now we're going to take my pills. Ow. 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 Ow.
And then here's another screenshot. Another small screenshot. We're getting to the end of the screenshot, people. The CW broadcast had very bad audio. All right, that's a repeat. We heard that already. And all right, here is the very last. Here is the very last screenshot from Facebook, right here at the top. Donna. I so wish I could have seen this on TV tonight. The entire performance of the Boston Pops and all the entertainment should be made to the entirely to everyone without having to pay to watch this. It's my way of celebrating the 4th of July. It has been very disappointing to not be able to watch it. And haven't been born and lived in Boston most of my life. It's just not the 4th of July without it. The Boston Pops at the Esplanade, also known as the Hatchell, from start to finish. Please put it back on TV for everybody to enjoy the same. Some people are not able to be in Boston for the 4th and would truly appreciate that. End quote. And now I will leave you with the last screenshot of the night.
Oh, God.
And yes, I edited some of the URLs out of this post. Come on, why are you not showing? This was my advertisement for my show last night. DJ Emo Hollywood will be on the air tonight with a special Boston Pop show. Yeah. Tune in at 6:30 tonight. He'll be rocking you to the next morning. Don't miss it. Always free. Don't forget to download the TuneIn app on your device, your smart TV, and search for JDL Oldies. Our commercial-free link. So there was the advertisement for my show, people. There it is, right there. And did I get to stream the Boston Pops last night? Nope. I got to stream CBS and PBS instead out of Washington D.C. That's what I had to put on as a backup.
Ow.
That's what I had to put on as a backup because Boston screwed me. And I'm going to tag WHDH in this post. Watch me. As soon as this video is done, you're going to see in the title, you're going to see WHDH TV tagged in the video. Because I want them to see it. And I'm tagging the CW too. Because I'm really pissed off. Cutting the 1812 overture was really disgusting. Nope, I want that. So, here we go. Now, it's going to be easier to just change scenes and delete all this shit because I got so many fucking screenshots open now. But yeah, I got screwed last night. I got screwed. I'm not happy that I got screwed. Not happy at all. Alright, so we'll get rid of all that clutter. So that's a great big ball of wax. But Boston, you fucked up last night. You really fucked up. And I almost just lit that cigar upside down. Good thing I noticed it was in my hand backwards because lighting a filter, oh, that's so disgusting. Oh, that's awful. That was really awful that they did this. So, I'm going to end this live stream so it can post. But then I'm coming right back with another quick one. So we'll be right back. After this brief intermission, but that's it. We're not going to talk about the Boston Pops anymore. So like I said, what I talked about earlier is in 2002, they made a law where channels like HDH in Boston cannot stream out of their market. That's why they could not do a national feed from WHDH. Because, like I said, they got rid of all these networks being able to stream out of their local market. And like I said, the day they killed TV in 2002 was deliberately done because of money and marketing. They want you to be watching the commercials in your local area, not watching the New York and Los Angeles feed. That's why they took it away. That's why they took WGN away. That's why they took TBS away. That's why they took PIX out of New York away. They destroyed television in 2002 when they did this stupid, oh, you have to watch everything in your market. So that's why WHDH couldn't stream the concert on their website. I want to stress that. That's why they couldn't stream it out of there on their website, because if HDH did that, it would have been in violation of the day the TV died, when they signed that stupid law that you can't watch networks out of your local market area. So that's why they used to go to Bloomberg, because Bloomberg is a cable station all over the U.S. So in other words, HDH and let's say CNN, HDH and CNN. HDH, because of the market crap that they put in place in 2002, cannot take the WHDH feed and broadcast it nationally. But they can contract with CNN, which is a news network all over the United States, and CNN can play it nationally because they're not a local television station in the Boston market. See how that works? So that's why Bloomberg used to broadcast their feed throughout the U.S., where WHDH, because of the 2002 ruling, the day the TV died in my book, because of that ruling, they're not allowed to stream out of market. So WHDH cannot stream it nationwide. So that's why they had Bloomberg to do it. But I don't know what the hell happened with their deal from Bloomberg. I don't know what the fuck happened where Bloomberg wound up getting knocked out of the picture, and they brought in the CW now to do a farce of a show and cut out the 1812 overture, a steeple of the show. How dare they? Unacceptable. Not happening. Alright, so that's a great big ball of wax. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Till next time, stay safe, be well, take care of yourself.